really didn't want to have to go here, but I'm gonna go here anyway, because I want to cover all the wrestling games I own. So let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, World Championship Wrestling presents Thunder! You want some of this? You got some! That's the way you take down sucking in the street, baby! So who's on whose side there?
Released in early 1999 for the PlayStation, WCW Nwo Thunder was a sequel to WCW Nitro, both named after popular WCW programming and both sharing the same basic game engine. These games didn't satisfy like their television counterparts did. THQ was putting out quality games on the N64 at the time, but for some reason they just couldn't get the PlayStation ones right, and this would continue throughout until the unfortunate end of WCW, even after the WCW games moved from THQ to Electronic Arts. WCW had an awesome roster at this time. Just here on the first page alone in the wrestler selection screen, you have some of the biggest wrestling names of the late 90s and early 2000s like Hogan, Bret Hart, Sting, Luger, DDP, Goldberg, Nash, Hall, Hennig, and Jericho, just to name a few.
If you're a true Jerichoholic and you pick me, I promise you'll never, ever lose this game again.
And as you can see, returning here in Thunder are the selection screen rants. It's sad to say, but for me it's one of the only shining points of this game.
You selected Scott Hall? Big trouble for you. I'm gonna rough you up, you little punk. I'm gonna rub your face in the mat, and when it's time, boom.
Each wrestler is part of a group or stable, including WCW, NWO Black and White, NWO Wolfpack, the Four Horsemen, and Raven's Flock. And by changing what group your wrestler is in, you actually receive alternate attires. With the help of a cheat, you can also gain access to a lot of strange and worthless hidden characters, none of them worth actually selecting. Now, instead of entrances in Thunder, you get live motion video clips of your wrestler walking to the ring, probably the closest thing you'll get to feeling like you're actually a part of WCW wrestling while playing this game. Now, as soon as the bell rings, you're really in for a world of hurt. The wrestlers just kind of scoot around the ring like cripples, and pressing attack buttons only leads to random fist and foot throwing that rarely connects. In order to pull off moves, you have to know the button combinations. So if you want to perform a body slam, it's up, triangle, triangle. Now, this isn't completely out of the normal. If you've played Warzone or Attitude, you know that sometimes this kind of formula can somewhat work for a wrestling game. But here in Thunder, it's completely broken. You'll be trying these combinations a few times before actually pulling them off. Oh, and unlike WWF Attitude, there's no pause screen move list. So if you're Kevin Nash and you want to perform a jackknife, which is not even a jackknife in the game, you have to fumble through your instruction booklet and find the combos. And God forbid you were a kid renting this game without the instructions back in 1999 when not everybody owned a computer yet. Well, let's just say you could just kiss all the finishers goodbye. I find it a joke that you can start a match, approach your opponent, press up in circle, drain their health bar down into the red, and then pin them without any effort, win the match in a matter of seconds. Multiplayer wasn't much fun with this feature, as matches would get cheap and heated and then be over in under a minute. There's plenty more to gripe about on the gameplay, but honestly I don't want to drag it out longer than it needs to be, so we'll move on to the visuals. I actually like the way some of the wrestler models look, but for the most part this game is a big pixely mess. The crowd just blends into the ringside, which just blends into the ring, which just gives me a headache after a while. And while there is a good selection of arenas, they all pretty much feel the same. The move animations are stiff, but some of them look decent, mostly the finishers. The wrestlers, more often than not, just end up looking awkward in the ring no matter what's going on. The background music is a bit odd, just like in Nitro. It reminds me a lot of WCW's entrance themes shortly before the company went under. It kind of feels like a mashup of 5 different genres of music into one song. And the commentary, or lack thereof, consists mostly of random moves being shouted out like
Pile driver.
There's also a few winning animations with voiceovers, like DDP yelling out bang over and over and over again. Thunder has a few additions that Nitro didn't have, like cage matches and weapons. Now the weapons are just scattered all around the ring, and it's tough as hell to keep one in your grasp when you finally do pick one up. The game also features a 30-man Battle Royal mode, which was not in Nitro and is a great idea. I mean, hey, there's plenty of wrestlers in the game, and Battle Royals were a huge part of wrestling in the 90s. Unfortunately, the game experiences extreme slowdown when there's too much going on at once. Not to mention, it's hard enough to play one-on-one with these broken controls. I don't need 2 more people thrown into the mix. They decided to throw in a cage match, and though it doesn't add much excitement, it definitely doesn't take anything away from the game. Not that there's anything left to take away. The run-ins during matches get old fast. It seems to happen anytime you fight somebody from the NWO, and while it mimics what was actually going on in WCW at the time, it's just annoying, and fortunately you can turn it off in the options menu. This game also picks right up where Nitro left off in the weird arena and character department. I guess it's kind of comedic, but I'd rather have better gameplay over this.
Taking a beating.
The thing is, some people actually like this game. Some people defend this game when you mention how horrible it is. And if you're one of those people, hey, more power to you. Even though I have history with this game, having owned it since its release, for me, this game is a prime example of what a wrestling game should not be. And also an example of how the PlayStation fans got screwed not once, but twice with WCW titles. Now, if you're a hardcore collector or WCW fanatic, you can get this game for next to nothing online. But if you're a casual throwback gamer looking for a good wrestling title, go grab any of the N64 THQ wrestling games and you won't be disappointed.